Hello folks, this is EFE again. Welcome to another one of my videos. This is another one of the model reviews that I do from time to time, where we look at some of the older die-cast models that are available on the second-hand market. And today we're looking at the EFE Exclusive First Edition's Leyland Titan, as in the 1970s and 80s rear-engine bus. The Titan was intended to be Leyland's standard double-decker and to replace all the other types that they produced. It didn't quite work like that. There were heavy delays in production, such that a lot of customers cancelled their orders or just bought other types of vehicle instead. And by the end, only London Transport was still interested, so the vast majority of the ones produced went to London. So the EFE model was first introduced in July 2002, and the last one, at the time I'm doing this, the last one to be produced was in March 2016. There have been 29 variants with this dual door configuration, and a further 7 with a single doorway, which is actually a model of a bus that was new with dual doors that's been converted to single door. So it's only got the front entrance door, and it's got a window there, but it's still got the centre staircase and the same arrangement on the off side. And the version we've got is catalogue number 28807, released in July 2003. Vehicle NUW598Y, which was new in October 1982 to London Transport. When London Transport was split up into smaller units ready for privatisation, it found itself working for Kent, i.e. the South East London and Kent Omnibus Company. Kent became part of Stagecoach, so they took the bus over and they withdrew it in December 1999. It was sold to the well-known dealers Ensign of Purfleet, who converted it into a mobile police station for Cambridgeshire Constabulary, and it's in that condition that we see it modelled here. Cambridgeshire Police kept it until 2009. It was sold to a scrapyard in the Barnsley area. I'm going to level with you. I bought this one to paint. I needed a Titan to paint, and this was the cheapest one I could find, so I'm going to repaint it, but I thought I'd review it first before I started to take it apart and paint it. So it's in a normal EFE box, the larger of the two versions, cardboard outer, plastic tray inner. So let's take it out and have a look at it. So the first impressions of the model are quite good. It looks like what it's supposed to be, a Leyland Titan. It's a pretty decent model, it has to be said. There are a couple of little points about it though. We'll have a look around it and I'll point those out as we go on. Worthy of note as well, most Leyland Titans were new with opening windows at the front, and most of them were rebuilt at some point during their lives with fixed panes of glass. EFE have done both versions. They do a version with the opening windows, so some of the releases have got opening windows represented on the front, and other ones have got fixed panes of glass like this one, just as appropriate to the model. So it's nice to see they've done that. You know, it's one of those little details, little variations that it's nice to see the manufacturers actually modelling. So I'm going to start with the front, and this model, in common with many die-cast models, it seems to have a thing that affects quite a few double-deckers, that the top of the front isn't particularly good, but the bottom's really, really good. It happens, I've seen Corgi models, I've seen Britbus models where the same thing happens. It seems to go a bit wrong at the top, and this is the same. It's not really a major problem, it just doesn't look quite right. It's a little bit too rounded as the front dome. If I show you a photograph of one, you can see it was really sort of angular in real life. The windows were sort of fixed panes of glass, as I said, arranged in a slightly V-shaped formation. And if we look at the model, the front dome looks a little bit too rounded. It's not a lot, but it does a little bit too much of it. It's not quite angular enough, and the window looks a little bit too rounded as well. It's not again, it doesn't quite capture the angle of the real thing. When we get down below there, it's not too bad. The releases that have a destination blind, it's just printed on. That enables them to do various variations, you know, the different operators had in their arrangement of destination blinds, and indeed on this one to model it without a destination blind at all, because the rail vehicle had it panelled over and it's got this lettering on it. But then we come down here and it's pretty decent, to be honest. The windscreen is slightly the wrong shape, but you can't really tell. It's weird the way they've done it. Again, I'll show you what I mean on the photograph. If I can get the camera to focus. There we go. So the real Titan had like a barrel shaped windscreen. It curves back and you can see it kind of goes in there, whereas the model has got a much flatter screen. But somehow, although it's the wrong shape, they've managed to put it in such a way that you can't really tell. So it manages to look right, even though it isn't, if that makes any sense. The headlight and grille area is quite well done, and as I say, it does. The model does get better the further down you go at the front. All the EFE ones have got the recesses for the fog lights. A lot of actual real London Titans were rebuilt with the plain panels you can see on that photograph. This is an ex-London bus. At the time of the photo, was working in Liverpool. It's not my photo, it's one I bought on the internet. But all the EFE ones have got the recesses for the fog lights. Again, you can't blame them for that. I mean, it would take a lot of money to do two different castings and do one without, and you can't really tell they're there, to be honest, the way they're painted over. So if we go around to the side, it's not bad at all. One of the Titan's signature features was it had much deeper windows on the lower deck than it had on the upper deck, and that's faithfully modelled. The doors look pretty decent, and the general shape and detailing is pretty good. This panel on the side is just printed on luckily, so when I come to paint it, that won't be visible anymore. But yeah, it looks pretty reasonable. The sort of angled off wheel arches are not rounded, again modelled perfectly well, and the wheels themselves look pretty decent as well. Going to the back, this was the Titan's signature area with this strange rear window in a recess offset to one side. There should, as far as I remember, be some grills in there, but they're not represented. I can understand why. It would be really, really difficult to print anything in there. For those of you into weathering your models, the inside of this recess was normally filthy on Leyland Titans because none of the bus washing machines could get into there. But it's really well done. The rear dome of a Titan always looked quite heavy. There was a lot of sort of fiberglass and metal and not very much window, and that's modelled correctly there. The window shape and size is about right. Grills are printed on there, and then you see you've got the distinctive recessed window, nicely modelled. The little cutout where the registration number plate was modelled as well. The engine cover represented nicely, the hinges and things, the handle to open it, and the lights are nicely done. Going to the offside, again looks pretty decent. As I say, this is common to both the single door and the double door versions. It's the single door one, as I say, is a bus that had been new as double doored and had been converted. So they've got the centre staircase and this small window at the front. But again, it looks pretty good. The roof, not much to report. You've got the radio dish there. And then we turn it over, and as you would expect on the EFE model, there is some chassis detail represented, and the underside of the engine and gearbox as well. Look inside, this bus has still got the proper bus interior. EFE haven't gone as far as to convert it into a police station, which will be handy when I repaint it, because I'm going to repaint it in London livery as a normal bus. But the interior looks pretty decent. It's modelled in one colour, as you would expect on an EFE of this period, which in this case is a rather dark brown colour. Not far off right, there were various shades of brown and a kind of yellowy colour, the real Titan interiors. But yeah, it looks pretty decent. And again, for the slight inaccuracies that I've mentioned, you can't really tell from looking at it at a normal distance. From a normal distance, it just looks really good. It looks like what it's supposed to, a Leyland Titan. So yeah, it's not a bad model at all. So we get on to pricing. So I'm doing this in March 2024. A quick look on eBay for the purposes of this one. They do tend to be a little bit more expensive, these, because as with the rail ones, most of the ones released have been London models, and London models tend to attract higher prices. Cheapest one I could find on eBay was £15.99 including postage, and the most expensive was £59.99 including postage. A lot of them were in the £20 to £25 range. The non-London ones tend to be cheaper. This particular one cost me £15, so that wasn't bad, and as I say, I wanted a cheap one to repaint. But yeah, £15.99 is your starting point. As I say, expect to pay around £20 to £25 really. That's the more normal level of pricing. But well worth getting one. As I say, it looks pretty decent when you look at it from a normal distance. Something I didn't mention as well, it's got mirrors modelled. They are a little bit more durable than they look. They look a bit flimsy, but they're not actually too bad. And we'll see if these survive this one being repainted. So anyway, as always, thank you for joining me. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.